I think Harry and Meghan really need to reevaluate what their next steps are because their reputation is currently in tatters.
So there is literally nothing sacred that they won't sell or that they won't put on a documentary. They've got nothing left. Hello and welcome to another edition of Pump Up the Jam. This is the show where we dissect everything about the deluded Duke and the dog biscuit Duchess. I'm Cristo here in London and calling LA.
Hi, all. I'm Kinsey Schofield, and today we're going to talk about Harry and Meghan clashing over Lily and Archie's appearances on their Netflix series, their multiple Netflix series, how Netflix is likely done with the Sussexes, Tiger Woods and Prince Harry, not two names I ever thought I'd put in the same sentence, and the republication of Spare Paperback, what we can expect.
So lots for us to talk about and dissect. And just to pick up on that point, the reason that you probably don't hear a lot about Tiger Woods and Prince Harry is because Tiger Woods has a job. And that's why it's an odd comparison. So let's start with this new Netflix show, potentially the final Netflix show for Harry and Meghan. This is, of course, the American Riviera Orchard Cookery Show, which is going to be with friends.
No. Meghan's show's coming out next. The Polo show comes out after that. So
There are
it's
two more
Meghan's
shows.
and then the Polo show that's coming out after that. Yeah.
Can't wait. Oh, they're going to be so good. And of course, there's a bit of a clash, apparently, in the household, isn't there?
Yeah, Prince Harry, I mean, this is a rare win for him. He has overruled Meghan Markle when it comes to sharing Prince Archie and Princess Lily on the screen. An insider told The Sun on Sunday Harry and Meghan have not always agreed on how much they should expose their children to the media, but in this case, Harry has clearly won. Polo, I doubt we'd see much of them, but I could see Meghan Markle trying to lean on the children throughout the cooking show, the entertaining show. I think she's really wanting to be more liked, thought of as a softer character, and people seeing her in mommy mode might actually contribute to that. And unfortunately, Prince Harry has put it, unfortunately for her, Prince Harry has put his foot down, and the children can't be used as props in this case.
Because, of course, she would, at any opportunity, happily use them as a prop. Because you're quite right, for her, it's all about image. It is all about image, and she knows that at the moment the world sees her as someone who has obviously, along with Harry, I mean, he takes his fair share of the blame, but of course she gets a lot of stick for having driven the wedge between Harry and his family, and of course being the one that is quite disliked, certainly in the United Kingdom. She is very, very conscious of that kind of thing. She is very, very conscious of image. And I think you've hit the nail on the head, Kinsey, when you say that she knows that being in mum mode, she knows that people seeing her as a mother, seeing her cooking food for the children, maybe giving them a brownie, oh look, Archie's got something round his mouth, and oh, Lilibet's going to play over there, that is going to look very, very good, not only for her, but also, let's not forget, the brand. And for her, for them both, it's all about selling product. And what better way of selling product than being the wholesome mum that is producing this jam, that is producing these products, of course, which you'll then end up probably needing to buy mail order or in Walmart or God knows where. I mean, where are they going to sell this stuff?
American Riviera Orchard.com. But I do think it's a little hypocritical when we saw the children in the Harry and Meghan Netflix docuseries. Almost every episode, there was a snap, black and white snap, like carefully choreographed with Meghan cuddling the babies. This is a strategy they've used before. So to no longer allow Meghan to go in that direction, if these reports from The Sun are true, I should stress, has to sting a little bit when there is proof of the success of it when it comes to their only commercial hit, which was Harry and Meghan on Netflix.
Why do you think Harry has put his foot down? If, of course, as you say, this is true, why do you think he has said, no, this is a step too far?
I think that he has a lot of trauma from his childhood and is trying to protect his children from what he feels like haunts him. But I also would argue, why is it fair for Meghan to take photos with other people's children for PR purposes? There were so many pictures coming out of Colombia with her coddling other people's children. And if I were their parents, I'd be confused as to why she wants so many images with my child, but I haven't seen a single one of her and hers since the Netflix series.
I mean, I think Harry's right, by the way, to do this. He's not right from a commercial perspective because I think they will sell more product if you see the children. And I think that it is absolutely correct that her image will be softened and improved by seeing the children. The problem is that the more they show their children, the more they open the floodgates to members of the media, photographers and the like, saying, well, look, we'll photograph them. You've allowed them to be seen, so therefore they are more fair game. Whether that's right or wrong is another matter, but I think that Harry is probably right to put his foot down in this way. Will it affect, though, the effectiveness of their sales? Will it affect the effectiveness of their being able to come across with this wholesome image? Will they get some prop children? Will they get some of the Colombian children in? Maybe fly a few of them over. Maybe get some extras from an agency, have a few of them running around. Maybe that will be the solution.
Yeah, I think that that's probably more likely than us seeing Lily and Archie. And I agree, Prince Harry is simply trying to protect them. But I know behind the scenes, people, the new publicists that they've hired, one working out of Los Angeles and one working out of the UK, they're saying people need to get to know the real you. Then they'll like you. People need to get to know who you really are. But Harry and Meghan are so guarded, and um, it's hard to hear him specifically talk about fatherhood on multiple podcasts and shows and interviews, um, and him be and us not actually see that.
Hmm.
So I think that that probably has to be a real obstacle for their team, who know that the only way forward, or they feel the only way forward to change perception, is to get to know the real Harry and Meghan. But so much of their life is so guarded.
I mean, the other option is, of course, they could actually just stop talking about it.
Yeah.
I mean, they could stop selling themselves constantly and talking about it constantly. That would be a way of us not wondering so much about it.
They would have really had a different outcome had they focused on very specific causes. For instance, if Harry went full blown vets,
Yeah.
and it was all about Invictus Games, it was all about helping homeless veterans, and it would, if that was really like his main obstacle, and throughout the successes he had and throughout the networking he would do while meeting these veterans and working with other veteran charities, he could linger into other causes, but make that one focus veterans for a few years while they established themselves in the United States. Because I think when they came over to the United States, it was a fresh start. And first impressions are everything, and they bombed it with the Oprah Winfrey interview. They turned a lot of people off. They should have come over, focused on some causes that were meaningful to them. Meghan was working with women and creating cookbooks, and very unique in that arena. If they would have like just stayed in those lanes, but and I'm not criticizing them for wanting to be in the protection online space, because I think it is important. But Harry and Meghan are like an octopus when it comes to their messaging. And in doing so, it fogs up um, it fogs up the general message. So they're all over the place, and they don't look disciplined, they don't look reliable. And what have they accomplished? And aside from Invictus Games, which I'd stress was accomplished under the royal family's umbrella, what have they accomplished individually in those spaces to make them authorities on those causes?
Well, the expression here, I don't know if it's an expression that you have over there, but it's a jack of all trades and a master of none. And that's what they come across as. I mean, if they want to focus on family for this show, has Meghan considered picking up the phone to her father? Maybe making him a little something. You want to cook a stew and take one over to him while he's recuperating from his latest illness that you've ignored. But you and I have spoken about this before, and I know that you think that this should have been their strategy, as you just said, when they left the royal family. But actually, for me, what you've just described, and like I said, we've outlined this before, was exactly what they should have been doing in the royal family. Veterans, and what happened to the veterans when they leave the armed forces, that could have been Harry's thing. His brother was going to become commander-in-chief as the king. Harry could be the one that you hand over to once you leave the armed forces. And you're right, what Meghan was doing in the space of the cookery and with people who were meeting her, a clip flashed up in my X the other day, Twitter, of Meghan meeting people at one of her first engagements and talking to someone who'd been waiting outside for a couple of hours. And she was great. I mean, she was good. I mean, it was all like, oh my God, I'm so sorry you've been waiting and I hope you're all right. But actually taking us back to that time, she was really good at first at meeting people and doing the royal thing. And it is just such a shame that they just didn't stick it out for the sake of a couple of things that went wrong. Because you're right, Harry could be the veterans champion. He could be the person that every single person looks to, and he could have cured, really worked on the homelessness of veterans, the mental health of veterans. Every single person who leaves the armed forces could have had some charitable endeavour from Harry. And what a waste. And what a waste to not have done it while they were in the royal family. And to your point, what a waste to have not done it when they left the royal family. And why? Because they are so self-obsessed that it's all about them, and it's all about, they're like magpies. It's like, oh, over here, oh, this shiny over here, and oh, look, there's a cookery show over here, and oh, look, Tyler Perry over here, and oh, there's some veteran stuff over here, we'll do this now, and oh, Oprah Winfrey, and it's like a scattergun approach, meaning that they're expert and that they are endeared on absolutely nothing.
Right. Well, I'm working on a story with Fox News right now about how Meghan was great at the beginning, and Harry and people did love her. I mean, despite what the Netflix series said, everyone was so excited about them. I just tossed my Harry and Meghan my like collector tea box, because I was like, nobody's going to want this. I'm not going to put it for sale online. But I bought it when I was over there. I have a Meghan mask. Like, I loved Harry and Meghan when they first hit the scene, and I loved them as British royals. And what we're seeing now, the story that we're working on at Fox, what we're seeing now is Harry and Meghan trying to remind people of why they initially fell in love with them by doing these fake royal tours, like we're seeing in Nigeria, like we're seeing in Colombia. Visually, they're trying to take us back there. They're trying to take us back there through highly choreographed photos and highly choreographed videos. But I am arguing that too much hurt has happened, too much damage has been done. And I think the general public is smarter than that, than to see this. I think it's a clear strategy that they are doing some of these tours to try to win people back over by saying, look, this is why you fell in love with us in the first place. And I just don't think that I just don't think the general public are going to fall for it. And they're going to forget the South Park episode, and they're going to forget Spare, and they're going to forget the Netflix series, and they're going to forget the Oprah Winfrey sit down.
Absolutely. And it's a fundamental misunderstanding of what it is that you are when you are in the royal family, when you're in the firm. Because you're absolutely right. She was great at first. I know that they have slagged off the engagement interview that they did, but I thought that that was absolutely brilliant. I've also got the Harry and Meghan marriage mug at home in my mug cupboard. I've got one for Catherine and William. I've got all of them. In my downstairs loo, I've got a mug from the coronation of the Queen. I've got all the memorabilia from Charles's coronation. So I love all of that stuff. And Meghan and Harry were in that fold for me. I absolutely adored it when she joined the family, and she was described as a breath of fresh air. She absolutely was. But the fundamental misunderstanding that they have with these faux royal tours, these fake royal tours, is that you do all of those things as members of the family in service to the crown, in service to the monarch. That is what your role is. When you are no longer in the family, you are doing it in service to yourselves. And that's the difference. And you're doing it even worse when that service to yourself is actually about going on to sell product. That's the fundamental difference. And that's why we don't buy it. That's why I no longer buy it. Because unfortunately, it's not fair. It is, of course, it's the biggest example of a hierarchy, with the King and William and everyone, Prince William and King Charles being at the top, and the Queen, as it was, Queen Elizabeth being at the top. Of course, it's not fair. But that is fundamentally what you take on as a member of the family. And if you choose not to, fine, you go, but you don't then do those same things in service to yourself. I felt that was a lecture. I felt like that was, I felt like I needed, so.
Well, hopefully Harry and Meghan see the clip and they'll recognize. All right, still on the Netflix train,
Yes.
according to a Los Angeles insider, this is Matthew Bellani, and it used to be the editor of The Hollywood Reporter. He's an entertainment attorney, and now he is the co-founder of Puck, PUCK, and this is a entertainment and political newsletter, and it's subscription only. They put a list together of the worst entertainment deals in history, and Harry and Meghan, I mean, obviously landed on that list. They also state in this conversation that Netflix is not expected to renew that 5-year, $100 million contract it signed with Harry and Meghan in 2020, despite the fact that they say that they're super committed to this upcoming cooking show and polo show. They don't believe that either show will connect with the audience in the same way that it connected with Harry and Meghan's Netflix series, Harry and Meghan, the original one. And they also, mentioned things that we've already talked about. Heart of Invictus didn't do well. Live to Lead didn't do well. Pearl canceled before it even began. But one of the most interesting parts of this article, this was siliconvalley.com that wrote up this article about Puck, because it is subscription only. They said over the past year, the couple have been the subject of reports in the Wrap and other industry trade publications that they've worn out their welcome in Hollywood and squandered opportunities because they are demanding to work with but lack experience. Of everything I just read, that they're one of the worst entertainment deals in history, that they probably won't get their contract renewed. To me, the worst thing about this article is the fact that they have developed this reputation already in Hollywood.
And it goes back as well to what we actually watched Harry and Meghan, that documentary on Netflix for. And it was for, I guess, more tea, for want of a better word, of what was going on with their thoughts of the royal family. We were watching as well for the inaccuracies. We were watching for their take on stuff. They're at the end of the road on that. They've run out. I mean, what the royal family have done brilliantly, and I think this probably comes down to Prince William and Princess Catherine more than King Charles, is they've starved them of the oxygen to be able to come up with more of that. I guarantee you, and I'm sure you agree, if there was more contact going on, if there was more of them being involved in the fold of the family, we would get another documentary. Netflix would get another winning documentary that we'd all watch and go, oh, what's their take on this? And also ticking off what is true and what isn't, because there were some things in that Netflix documentary about the royal family which, of course, were just blatantly just false, headlines that weren't actually British headlines. The commentary on things that just wasn't true, wasn't accurate.
Like stock video of paparazzi shots that were actually a Harry Potter premiere and not somebody harassing Meghan Markle. Like, come on, guys.
It's so funny. I mean, it's actually, on one level, it is hilarious because they didn't have enough to complain about even to film that documentary, that they had to use this stock footage. You're absolutely right. So what else do they have to give other than this lifestyle stuff, and it will remain to be seen how well that will do. But it's never going to do as well as us watching to find out what they're going to be saying about the royal family. And the royals have done exactly the right thing by starving them. They've cut them off and starved them of the publicity. And that's why it's so wise. It's sad, but it's so wise to say, sorry, we're not having these meetings anymore. Because let's not forget, the meeting after Prince Philip's funeral ended up as the forward in Spare. The precious moments after Queen Elizabeth's death, when Prince Harry got to Balmoral and went into her room, ended up in the closing chapters of Spare. So there is literally nothing sacred that they won't sell or that they won't put on a documentary. They've got nothing left.
And while the negativity was a quick buck for both Netflix, I don't know if it was quick because it took Harry and Meghan years to actually produce Harry and Meghan for Netflix. While it was relatively a quick buck for not only Netflix, but for Harry and Meghan, you're right, the content was negative. And I had a call last week with a publicist in Los Angeles. He represents a lot of celebrity clients, and he was pitching me something for, he was pitching me someone for my entertainment reporter job. And I asked, just trying to merge my two worlds, if his client would like to comment or do something for Prince Harry's upcoming birthday. And he immediately said to me, "Does it have to be Prince Harry?" And I said, "Well, it's his birthday." And he said, "I'm sorry, when I hear that name, my publicist alarm bell immediately goes off. I don't think we want to be associated with them. They're too negative." So hearing, the Wrap and some of these other, publications say, trade publications say that Harry and Meghan have worn out their welcome in Hollywood, and kind of just destroyed these opportunities because they're demanding, and they really have a hard time collaborating with people. And then having that private call with someone who says, "You know what? We're not even going to go there because we don't feel like these two are good to associate with." I think Harry and Meghan really need to reevaluate what their next steps are, because their reputation is currently in tatters.
Well, part of being royal is the mystique. That is a big part of it. You don't actually hear from them very often. And most royals, when they are still royal or when they're trying to be faux royal, they get usually one. Like Diana had one interview where we actually heard her point of view, and one book. And that was it. And that was in years and years of her story. And the book, by the way, wasn't even official. We sort of found out later that she was the source on it. But there was one really dynamite interview we ever got from Diana. And other than that, there was a lot of mystique. We don't hear a lot. King Charles has done, I think, that the Jonathan Dimbleby documentary, and again, that was where he spoke about having been unfaithful, and he also contributed to Jonathan Dimbleby's book. There isn't a vast back catalogue of stuff that you can point to from the royals, and so that level of mystique has remained. And what does that mean? It means you've also got that level of interest. Harry and Meghan, within a couple of years, have just blur. I mean, just everything, every single possible thought that has been in their head, every crevice of their mind has been just vomited out to all of us. And there's nothing left. There's nothing left for us to hear. There's nothing left for us to be interested in. And you're right, it's all just negative, woe is me, victimhood that they've monetized. And it's there's nowhere else to go. There is nowhere else to go. There is no mystique left. Nothing.
James Patterson is an author who has written about the royal family, probably ruined a little bit of the mystique. He's written about Diana, he's written about Harry and William, and he has a brand new book out about Tiger Woods. And one of the headlines over the weekend was "Tiger Woods is the Prince Harry of sport." Author James Patterson's cutting barb about Duke, as his new book uncovers the affairs and addictions that ruined the golf star's marriage. This is really difficult for me to understand, but he says similar to Prince Harry, Tiger Woods was trapped by his fame and courted disaster when he tried to escape the gilded cage. He said Tiger and the royal family are not allowed to be real people, to be out in the world, and he thinks that's probably a little bit of the problem with Harry. He's just got to go out there and be a real person, you know? I guess that's what we were just talking about, publicists saying, be yourself. People need to get to know who you are. But I still think that this comparison is ridiculous. Do you think Tiger Woods will resent this comparison?
Yes, and I also think that, I mean, I joked about it at the start of the show, but what we got with Tiger Woods constantly was content other than the victimhood. You know, he had a job
Yeah.
as a golfer. He was winning, and so there was to go back to your point about what would they produce now? Why is Netflix no longer interested in them? Well, that's because they actually don't have a job beside moaning and complaining. They're going to give it a go now with this lifestyle nonsense. Whereas Tiger Woods, there was the chaos around him.
Tiger Woods was a self-made man, one of the greatest golfers of all time, won 15 major championships, 82 PGA tours. I don't understand the comparison at all. Prince Harry was given the platform he has by the family he terrorizes, and I know he has a lot of awards on his mantle, but those are, in my opinion, those are pay to play. A publicist called in some favors, and that's why he's got a Pretty Pat Tillman award on his fireplace.
I love the fact that you've used the word terrorizes his family. But you're right,
True.
but Tiger Woods had a job. There was something else to talk about with Tiger Woods other than this chaos around him and the victimhood. Whereas with them, that's all that they have. And so again, it's going to be so interesting to see how the public perceive their attempt to do lifestyle, and whether also they're going to have to resort to actually mentioning anything about the family. I very much doubt they will. So will that give
No,
anyone?
the problem is that because they spent 3 consecutive years tearing into the royal family, now everything they say we interpret as a slight to them. I think that they have done this to themselves by being so hateful and cruel over the last 3 years, and now they're trying to flip a
Yeah.
switch,
And actually,
and everything they say we interpret as something critical.
and you're absolutely right. And what they should have done, if they were doing a proper PR strategy, I mean, firstly, I think it was awful they left the royal family. But if they wanted to, fine. But if you or I were doing their PR, what I would have said was actually, it's the lifestyle nonsense you do first, and then perhaps down the line you reflect on what will hopefully be your success by talking about some of the challenges you've had if you really feel the need to say something. Because then we'll have been really interested and we'll have had other content from them first that doesn't look like it's all based in bitterness and victimhood. They've done it the wrong way round. They've done it the wrong way round. And that's why.
I wouldn't have done the lifestyle thing first. I would have spent the first 2 years in LA quiet, working behind the scenes with charities, with veterans, with the homeless, and I would have allowed my photo to be taken by iPhone cameras behind the scenes as I was doing actual physical grunt work, like when they helped out with Baby to Baby in Los Angeles during the pandemic and we're handing out backpacks full of school supplies for the underprivileged. I would have done that for 2 years under the radar. I wouldn't have talked to anybody, and I certainly wouldn't have lashed out about the British royal family. I think that they should have looked like they were living a life of service for several years, and maybe down the road they could have been complained about things. But I don't think they would have, because time heals all wounds.
Mm.
And if they were truly happy and thriving in Montecito, then this wouldn't be an issue for them. They wouldn't want to continue to dwell on it. They would have moved on.
Well, talking of moving on, we've got to get a new edition of Spare. I mean, who knew there were more copies to be sold of that? But a paperback edition is on the horizon. Apparently, it's going to have a new photograph of Prince Harry on the front. But in this new
No,
edition, it's not going to have a new photograph.
it's the same cover, and the contents of the book are unchanged.
Yes, that's the
It
interesting part.
Yeah, so this is being hailed by not only the Mirror, but by the Daily Mail as an olive branch or a sign of healing. Prince Harry attempting to heal the relationship between the king by, because we have debated this for years. What's going to happen when they republish Spare? What's going to happen when they republish Spare? When they republish a book, typically is that there is new information inside, because that inspires more people to potentially buy the book
Yeah.
again. But I don't think that this is an olive branch. I think this is a sign from Penguin House of defeat. This is a sign of defeat from the publisher due to Harry's refusal to do any additional work. I think Harry has washed his hands of this, and this is not some big beautiful olive branch. It's another sign of Harry's lack of dedication and commitment, and refusal to um I refusal to
Work.
commit to any.
To work.
Yeah.
Refusal to work. You're right. I misread that. I really thought that they were going to at least give a new photo, but you're absolutely right. They're not doing a new photo, no new chapters, but also it goes back to the point we have earlier. What else could they say? They're cut off. So there is nothing probably more that they could actually put in there other than what's out there already. So not
Well, I
only
mean,
does he probably not want to,
if he were really a good human, he would have added an apology. He would have said, "You know what? My dad has cancer, my sister-in-law has cancer, and I'm gonna be the bigger person." And yeah, I just, on the very last page, I just wanna say I'm sorry to my dad and my sister-in-law. If he was the great man that they're trying to paint him as, these two publicists working overtime in the UK and LA that were recently hired, that's how he would have shut this all down.
yeah.
That's an olive branch. Dad, I'm sorry. I hope, I pray for you. Like, I hope that you survive this. And I'm so sorry that I put us in this difficult situation where I sit in California worried about your health and have no idea about what's going on, because I jeopardized our relationship by not only criticizing you in the press, but releasing really private details about our family's life.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, by the way, also for going on faux royal tours, which diverts attention away from you guys as well and all the brilliant work you do. And I'm really, really sorry for all the interviews that I've given that have caused you stress. I'm sorry to my sister-in-law, Princess Catherine, for the implication via the royal author that we have an in with that you're a massive racist. Sorry about all of that. In fact, let's just rename the book Sorry. Just call it
Yeah.
Sorry. And that might
Yes.
be something that goes some way towards healing the rift. Listen, Kinsey, as always, what a great dissection of the week in the Moaning Markles.
Make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment below, and share with a friend. Thanks so much for watching.
Bye bye.